once I got my master in law when I was 23, I jumped on the first train to London to study at SAE. So finally, I could follow my real ambition and study music to become a musician. But then when I was living in London, I had some kind of identity crisis. Like, who am I? What do I want to do in life? I also saw my friends doing different things than sound. So I was a bit nervous and insecure about my future. But then I thought, you need to look backwards. What is the red thread in my life? And then I saw that the power of sound really was what was driving me and giving me energy in life. And then I started to investigate the power of sound, and I realized that we have a very early connection with sound. Of course, sound as a powerful tool is obvious to all of us, but I think the power goes further than you know. I don't know if you remember, but you were in your mother's belly one day for 9 months, and the very first sound that you ever heard, when your eyes were still closed, your ears were already open, you heard this sound, sorry. So the mother heartbeat is the very first connection we have with sound. But also sound, can literally touch you. Right now I'm producing frequencies and I'm literally touching your ears. There's also this difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is what you do in a passive way with your ears, but listening is what you do in an active way with your brain. And when you really listen, you can tell the difference between cold and hot water. Voila, the power of sound. I don't want to over rationalize sound because in the end, sound is emotion. Or, and then we have Jaws in the session. Now, sound can not only evoke an emotion, it can also evoke an entire world. So right now I'll play to you a fragment of less than 1 second and you'll see an entire universe. So be ready. We see 007, James Bond, Miss Moneypenny. Now, one step further, we go from an emotion to a universe to something else. Do you know this fragment? So we're all Netflix addicts. So there is this link between a sound and a brand. I have another example that was played 1.8 billion times a day in 2010. And now you recognize it. So this to me was like during my identity crisis, what I wanted to do in life. So I saw this thing being the power of sounds, but I also saw the opportunity to link a sound with an emotion, with a universe, with a brand. So then I decided to start this business idea and started my own company that was based on the idea of sonic branding. But before I continue, I'd like to do a small experiment with you guys. So I'll ask you a question. Please answer in the chat. So we have two characters, two symbols, two dots, and one of them is called Kiki and the other one is called Booba. So my question to you guys is spontaneously, who is Kiki and who is Booba? So please answer in the chat. Don't think too long. You have about 15 seconds to answer who is Kiki, who is Booba.
Voilà. Alors, la plupart disent Kiki à gauche et
Okay.
Booba à droite.
Okay, we'll see what the result is.
Voilà.
So there's no right or wrong, but maybe could somebody from the audience tell me why you thought Kiki was on the left and Booba on the right? Is there somebody who wants to answer?
Attends, je pose la question dans le chat. Donc, pourquoi avez-vous pensé que Kiki était à gauche et Booba à droite? Oui, Booba, un son plus rond et Kiki plus anguleux.
Yeah, okay. So I'm
Ouais.
happy that this is the explanation because there is a link between sound and vision. So this experiment was done for the very first time in 1929 by scientist Köhler, and he showed that despite cultural backgrounds, religion, sex, that more than 97% of all people give this answer, and the remaining percentage, they have a higher possibility of being autistic or being very clever. But the plupart des gens disent que Kiki est à gauche et Booba est à droite. So this to me, yeah, was a really important insight, this experiment, because visual identities are on point. Films, series, brands, they all have this visual identity that they use 360 in different touch points. But I was really inspired about this quote of Martin Lindstrom, and he said the biggest part of marketing money is spent on the eyes, and it doesn't make sense. And I thought he's damn right. You can ask the question, what does a brand look like? But I prefer to ask the question, what does a brand sound like? So this is basically the fundamental idea of the company that I founded in 2012. And then, of course, yeah, when you have this company and you have this idea, you're all by yourself, you're alone, and you feel alone. And then you think about, yeah, growth. How can we make this idea flourish? How can we give water to the seeds? Then I realized that an idea is important, but the most important idea actually is the execution. Because when you look around you, you find so many reasons not to do something. Because you see that there are competitors or other people have the same idea. But I really believe that execution is the most important part. Like if all of us would start a coffee bar tomorrow, we would all do it in a different way with our own personality in the idea and the execution. So we would have many different types of execution for the same idea. And I really believe that you don't should be afraid to execute an idea because other people have the same idea. Of course, you need to write a plan. Don't start just like that without a strategy and a plan in mind. So that's why I wrote an entire business plan, a template I found on Google with yeah, the product ID, with the analysis of the competition, with the value proposition, how I would start the team. And then I showed this business plan to my brothers who are 10 and 12 years older, and they were, yeah, not really blown away. They were a bit disappointed. Why? Because there wasn't an Excel sheet. And then I realized it's really boring, but you really need your financials, like how much revenue do you think you could have in the first year, and what would your cost be, and what would your overhead be? Do you need to rent an office, or do you just need a laptop? These kind of things you really need to be aware of. Definitely when you have a responsibility, when you have a partner or you have children, there are these risks. So it's important to get the numbers right. As I said, yeah, I felt a bit lonely as I was all by myself. So I was looking for a partner in crime. A friend of mine, where I made music with, started to work together with me to develop this idea. Also, I was really young, so I was looking for a mentor, an older guy that I called every day the first year, and every week the second year, and every month the third year, and now I call him once a year. But it's important to be able to talk to somebody who has experience and who can give you advice. When you start your business, yeah, there's this reality, you need money. But I realized that when you find the energy and you're following your passion, time is the best investment you can do. And yeah, there are 365 days per year. Yeah, imagine that you work at least 260 days per year. And when you work every day, let's say 1 hour more, you have 260 hours that you invest in your ID, where you then don't need money. Of course, it's important to stay productive and to find the right balance between work and life. But I believe that time investments can be a good balance when you don't have a lot of money. You need an office. Yeah, in the beginning, my office was my laptop, but then, of course, I needed a studio. So I found this place where I'm sitting right now, by the way. And it was next to Night Girls. So the rent was really cheap. So I was happy that I could renovate this place and turn it into 3 studios. The company was growing. So then I started to rent a container to put an office. And then, of course, you need clients. And there is this saying that the first clients can be one of the 3 stated below: friends, fools, or family. And then once you have these clients, you build your portfolio, and then yeah, your business grows. Then your team needs to grow as well. And there I realized that culture is really important. Like, a golden rule to me is the people sitting in front of you for yeah, a job offer. Would you go to a bar with this person to have a drink in private? And this is always a good sense check to know if you have like the same culture, because yeah, you're wasting time if you are building a team only built on skills and not on like a cultural and a personal click. So this was the team in 2014. So part was freelance, a part was employee. And then this guy was really motivated. So I met him in London, and one day he rang my bell here in Ghent. And yeah, he took his bike, and by bike he went from London to Ghent. And then he asked me, can I start yeah, the business idea you have in London? So this is Lloyd, and he became the manager in London. So motivation is something really important. But like I said, the balance between work and life is crucial. And this is another golden rule I'd like to give you guys. It's called the 5 balls of life. And these are the balls we are all juggling with every day. So you have the ball of friendship, family, integrity, health, and work. And these 5 balls we are really struggling with in our lives. But important to know is that the first 4 balls I set, so friendship, family, integrity, and health, they are built out of glass. So if they fall, they can burst or they can even be destroyed. But the ball of work is made out of rubber. It will always bounce back. So you don't have to be afraid to say no sometimes, and not to work too hard. I know the balance is difficult, but if you keep this in mind, the 5 balls of life, the chance is higher that you won't lose friends or a relationship or your health or family. So this to me is really important as a takeaway. But of course, yeah, you need to work more to be faster and better than the competition. So like I said, it's difficult. But it's also about focus, saying no to things. When people ask you, yeah, to record a band, but your business idea is to launch your own podcast series, yeah, then recording a band is not in line with your business idea. So saying no is so important to become the best in a certain niche. Otherwise, you will do a lot of stuff, but they won't serve like your ambition or your final goal. In the meantime, the company was growing and we had our first cases. So we had Bevergem, a series where we did the music. We had Coolblue, a brand where we did the sonic branding. And then because you have cases, you can convince other clients. And the company started to grow. And then we did the Dag at the Day, the entire soundtrack. We did sonic branding for the city of Ghent. So it's always building on previous work and convince people with your portfolio. But of course, you want to protect your baby because, yeah, it's a cruel, cruel world. So once your company gets successful, let's say, you have people with bad intentions that try to say bad things about you, or you have people that approach you who will offer you maybe some money to buy your company. Or so this is really important and also difficult to protect your baby and your ID, and be aware that there are people in this world with bad intentions, unfortunately. So always be critical enough before you trust people. It's a work in progress. It's about doing things better every day. For me personally, I think I'll never be satisfied, as I feel that every day I learn new things, and that's an important mindset. Don't think I'm the best, I know everything. I'm quite sure there's always something new to learn. Um, Quite often I wonder, like, why am I doing this? And that's really important, that you define your why. When you look in the mirror in the morning, you should be convinced of your passion, because otherwise you're wasting your time and you're doing like a wrong thing. Like if you're growing something in podcasts, but in the morning you're like, I want to record a band, yeah, then you're wasting your time developing a podcast ID. It's also important always to think about the next step. And 3 years ago, actually 4 years ago, I was thinking like, okay, now I have my limits with the company I founded. So it was called Roundhouse. I saw that I couldn't do bigger post-production projects because the studios were too small. I saw that clients stopped coming because the studio is in Ghent and they wanted to work in Brussels. I also saw that we needed some extra services to make the company more solid. And then I got a phone call from Phile and Thierry from Sonicville. And then I started to talk with them. And after 1 year, we decided to do a fusion between the two companies. And then Sonhouse was born. So today we are three partners, Phile, Thierry, and myself. And Sonhouse exists for 3 years. And yeah, that's where I am today. Well, the first financial support I needed was to build a studio, because I already had my gear. I had speakers, I had a mixer, I had mics, I had the knowledge. But then, yeah, we needed to record in a decent booth. So I made a financial plan and I went to the bank. Um, and the financial plan was actually really good, I thought. But the bank said no. And I was so disappointed. And I remember this because I told my girlfriend, I want to quit. I mean, if the bank doesn't believe in this idea, why should I do? Because I think I needed 12,000 euros to build the booth and have a basic control room with a decent preamp and an EQ and a compressor. But then I thought, yeah, I really want to follow my passion. So I contacted another bank and they gave me the 12,000 euros. And then it's with a percentage, you need to pay them back. But so the bank was my solution. Donc là, je pense que c'est très important de trouver euh, le, le, comment tu dis, capstock, donc le couple. Euh,
La coupole,
oui, la couple.
comme
Donc,
le chapeau, comme
oui, le
ça.
chapeau. Donc, comme idée principale pour moi, c'était toujours l'idée de sonic branding. Et en fait, un synonyme, c'est identité sonore. Et donc, comme tu vois aujourd'hui sur le site de Sonhouse aussi, le chapeau, c'est Sound Identity. Et là, on a deux départements, film et brand. Et donc, je vais expliquer tout à l'heure. Mais quand tu as trouvé ce fil rouge, tu peux créer des services horizontalement qui font partie de l'idée principale. Mais tout d'abord, il faut trouver cette idée principale. Sinon, c'est bizarre pour le marché que tu fais podcast et enregistrement des groupes, tu vois. Mais quand tu dis, oui, je vais lancer une idée où on fait des podcasts sur des groupes de musique, c'est pas bizarre que tu fais l'enregistrement des groupes. Mais si tu fais podcast partout, des sujets n'importe, c'est un peu bizarre. So the actual integration of the two companies took 3 years. So I can say that now we're almost ready. First of all, you have a cultural clash. You have people that are used to work in a certain way, and you have other people doing it another way. To give an example, me and my 4 colleagues, we worked really digital with Dropbox. We had no printers, and in Sonicville, they were printing everything, and they were not working in a digital way. Um, Also, there was a different vision on how to do Sonic branding. Sonicville created jingles like short fragments, but my methodology was to create like an entire song and um, like some kind of audio brand book. And that was the thing that Roundhouse developed. So then you need to talk to each other, like what will be our common culture. Um, and yeah, if you're not really working on this every day, then a fusion will never work. So I was also really afraid that the fusion wouldn't work because articles of Forbes and other clever magazines tell that yeah, between 1 and 5% of all mergers work when you really integrate them. Uh, you have a lot of companies that merge, but actually they don't really merge. They stay on themselves. So that's not really a difficult thing. But when you want to combine two companies with two histories, two teams, two approaches, and two services, um, yeah, it's really challenging. But that's why we wrote like a new business plan together with a new strategy and a new vision, and then you make sure everybody is aligned, and the people that don't agree with this new vision, they are free to yeah to leave the company. And then it's sad, of course, but yeah, it's more important to tell how it is, and to tell how you see the company. Otherwise, yeah, nobody knows where the boat is heading, and then you will definitely lose people along the road because they don't understand what the vision is or what the company is standing for. Yeah, as a model, we're a sound production agency. So what does this mean? Sound obviously is everything related to sounds, um, but it's really well overthought that we use the word sound because sound is, for example, music and voice, but yeah, not the other way around. So if we would say music production agency, for example, yeah, it's like limited to music. So sound is the broad term for frequencies and everything that you can hear. So that's why we chose this term, because sound can be yeah, everything. It's not only related to specific services. And then production means that we have our own facilities and our own team. So we have facilities in Brussels, Ghent, Antwerp, and Senef. Why? Because we want to serve our clients in a local way, but also because of spend for Screen Flanders, Screen Brussels, and Walimage. You need facilities in every region. Production also means that we have an in-house team. So today we have 19 people on the payroll, and then we have, of course, freelancers we work with. And that's what I was saying a few minutes ago. Like a changing market, you have people working at home with their own studio. So that's why we really believe in the agency model as well. So we combine own facilities and an own team with external people. So we are an open house, and we don't see like freelance engineers or musicians as competitors. We love to work with them, so they can use our facilities when they need like a bigger mix stage, or they need Foley, or they want to have like a producer who does the planning and the budget. And also we work with them, even if they work from their home studio. So instead of fighting against this changing market, like the fights of cab drivers versus Uber, we were like, okay, let's find best of both worlds, because the world is changing and there is this evolution. And this is the term for our platform. So the freelance network, we call it our platform. So this is a combination of voice actors, dialogue editors, mixers, musicians, audio freaks, like everybody who has something to do with sounds that we find like has talent. So young people, older people, a mix. So, and our bigger belief, our mission is to create sound identities, because we believe that a project can be stronger if the sound is good. Because there are too many movies or too many radio commercials where they don't think about sounds enough. So the quality is too low, or they don't have a certain vision. For example, in movies and series, you still see it quite often that you recognize the music. Why? Because it's temp music, where the editor took like a Hans Zimmer track and an Olafur Arnalds track, and then they give it to a composer and they ask him, can you make something like this? Yeah, then I think the project could have been stronger with a known sound identity. So that's basically the main idea of Sonhouse. So now I'll dive into the two departments. So first of all, there is the film department. I won't play any cases, but feel free to listen to stuff after the talk. First of all, there's dubbing, where we do a lot of dubs for national and international clients. So this is for animation, for feature films, where we do casting. So we also have like a casting department to really think about the right voices for each character. So for the dubbing, we have 4 identical dub studios. We also use them for ADR. And then we work with an engineer, a director who is like the coach, and then the voice talents. And we work on a big screen then to do international dubs. Post-production is, as you guys and girls know, yeah, the general word for doing everything that is the sounds part for a documentary series and film. So we get an OMF, we clean it, we do the dialogue edits, we add sound design, we add Foley, we do a first mix, we add the ADR, and then we do a final mix. Like explained really briefly. These projects, yeah, they often take months, sometimes a year. Then music supervision is more a consultancy thing, where we advise directors, writers, people in film and series what music they can use in their project, but also if there's custom music, what would be the perfect composer to work with. And this part also contains like clearing existing music, looking for background music, and it's closely linked to soundtrack. So soundtrack is where we really look for the composer and do the entire production for the music for a series, film, animation, documentary. So these are the 4 services we have within film. And then if we go to brands, the other departments, we have podcasts, where we create own podcasts or do productions for clients. Music is original music and clearing, or also background music and library music if needed. But that's more difficult to create a sound identity. Sonic branding is the idea of a sound identity really related to brands. So the world of brand music, sound logos, where I think, yeah, Cool Blue is the most famous case. And then radio, this is radio commercials that we do for agencies. Yeah. stuff that you hear on the radio. L'expertise en général est le même parce que oui, ça partit toujours de son. Mais quand même, il y a des services qui demandent une expertise spécifique. Par exemple, le dubbing, c'est vraiment, il y a des producers chez nous qui sont vraiment très habitués à organiser des dubbings, des castings. Mais aussi soundtrack, c'est quelque chose de complètement différent parce que là, tu as besoin de la connaissance de la musique. Il faut comprendre la musique, il faut traduire ce qu'un réalisateur dit vers le musicien. Il faut comprendre comment organiser l'enregistrement d'une orchestre. Euh, mais quand même, c'est toujours le son. Donc, c'est ça, le fil rouge. Mais c'est pour ça qu'on est 19. A one-man show can't be the best in all these services. Donc, moi, personnellement, par exemple, mon focus sur les projets, c'est plutôt soundtrack music supervision et ici, sonic branding. Mais je ne vais jamais dire que je suis le spécialiste en radio, par exemple, ou en post-prod ou en Foley. Donc, c'est pour ça qu'il faut un team et des gens et aussi des freelances. In the days it was library music on CDs, but now you have like these websites that I don't like, but like Premium Beat and like Audio Jungle, where yeah, because of lower technology and digitalization, clients buy their own music on these websites. But personally, I think it sounds awful. Luckily, there are better libraries like Universal and Uni PPM and so on. But this is also something we do sometimes when there is a lower budget or it's just like background music in a film where they're sitting in a bar and you need a song to play in the back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I mean with background music. So 3 types. First type is government. We see that more and more governments are asking for podcasts. It could be for like example RTBF in the end is also government. It could be for a museum where there is a link with a government. There is also this request for the University of Antwerp to do a podcast. So that's the first part, governments. Second part is agencies, so ad agencies that convince their clients not only to broadcast television, radio, online, but also to use this new medium being podcasts. But there it's really difficult because the general reflex is that podcasts are really expensive. But yeah, a podcast needs a good scenario, a good voices, a good coach, a director, good music, sound design. Most of the time, an episode is on average around 10 minutes. And I always say, like, for a radio commercial of 20 seconds, you have more budget than for a podcast of 10 minutes. So that's also because of digitalization. People think, okay, we have an iPhone, we can make a podcast. But of course, you need the right people to do it. And then the third part is, people in direct that ask us to create a podcast like a company. And then most of the time they want to use our facilities to record their podcasts. But besides these 3 clients, we also experiment with creating our own podcasts, own ideas and own stories. We have like Tomato Tales is something we created ourselves and wrote ourselves just because we love to tell these stories. Je pense en fait dans le département brand, la partie radio, là, on est quand même à la recherche pour le Next Generation Voice Director, Voice Coach. Donc, c'est vraiment la personne qui est à côté de l'ingénieur, qui, euh, qui est l'intermédiaire entre les voix et les clients et qui comprend un script et qui peut traduire ce script en une idée de audio et qui vraiment est le coach pour les voix. Donc, qui dit oui, plus lentement, plus vite, plus fort. Donc, vraiment un réel comme tu as pour les films et les séries, mais que pour le audio. Donc, c'est pour les spots radio, mais aussi pour des podcasts. Euh, mais bien sûr, en général, on est toujours à la recherche des, oui, des gens qui sont passionnés de l'audio, si c'est des musiciens ou des mixeurs ou des ingénieurs. Donc, on veut toujours rencontrer des nouveaux talents. Voice director is someone who understands the scripts and an ID, and based on this script, he thinks about or she thinks about casting who would be the ideal voices, voice actors, voiceover. So voice actor is really like the dialogue, the game, and voiceover is like the voice that gives the message. Then based on this casting, this voice director most of the time already makes like une maquette, like a rough ID with dummy voices, like how would the script sound together with an engineer slash sound designer. And then we see if the radio commercial works in audio, but also in the time frame, because you have like 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Sometimes it's too short or too long. Most of the time it's too long. And then when the actual recording takes place, the voice director is like the translator between the voices and the client and the engineer. So is really, or she is really leading the session. And then it's all about telling the right stuff to the voices, directing them, tell them how to use the voice to talk faster, slower, higher, lower, to breathe in a different way. And yeah, like you have a director for a film or a series who tells the actors what to do. It's actually the same thing, but only for audio. And this expertise is also applied to podcasts. Like understanding sounds in a broad way, so understanding music, sound design, and voice. Then having skills in copywriting, basic, so understanding scripts, understanding language, also cultural knowledge, because sometimes there is a reference in a script to cultural things. Being bilingue is important, so French and Flemish, and having knowledge on technique, like how do you talk, how do you speak, but yeah, I think the most important thing is the will and the mindset to learn this. I mean, everybody needs to learn. And yeah, the voice coaches that are working at Sonhouse today, they also didn't know what to do the first day. So it's all about willing to do this, and then yeah, you can learn everything if your passion is there and if it's your why that I explained. Vite, c'est une barrière quand même, parce qu'il y avait quelques personnes qui voulaient faire un stage, mais on ne pouvait pas à cause des règles. Mais sur notre site, sur la page Contact, il y a l'adresse email de Léonie. Et donc là, vous pouvez envoyer un email pour internship. Non, mais c'est quand même important de décider quelle sera l'expertise principale. Moi aussi, j'ai plusieurs casquettes, mais quand même, j'ai mon focus sur sonic branding et soundtrack, parce que sinon, tu ne seras jamais le meilleur. Ou, oui, quand tu fais tout un petit peu, donc pour devenir un expert, c'est important quand même de décider quelle sera la casquette principale. Mais non, j'aime les synergies et crossover, donc oui, parce que maintenant, je vois déjà que les ingénieurs ont aussi la capacité de faire le direction. Mais là, c'est important de comprendre que c'est quand même deux trucs différents. Donc, il faut être un peu schizophrène, quoi, quand tu fais les deux. Mais c'est possible. For everything that is not music, we work in a digital way. So we have Pro Tools as a main DAW in all our studios. But of course, yeah, we have the analog mics and analog compressors and equalizers and speakers. But we are not recording on analog desks. We have one Euphonics desk that is hybrid, so both digital and analog. But to be like aligned with other studios, also internationally, it's important to have digital gear, like to share Pro Tools sessions, to share the configuration of like we have an S6 and an S40 table. So when you send a session to somebody in Germany, the faders are already in place. And then for music, we like to work analog with old gear and tape and amps, and because that gives like a certain flavor. Les deux en fait. L'équipe est bilingue et moi je suis plutôt flamand parce que je suis né à Lokeren et j'habite à Gand, mais on est bilingue parce que aussi the beating heart is in Brussels. So. Le bruitage, donc on a un studio à Senef et là on a créé un Foley Stage qui est vraiment traité acoustiquement. Et là, c'est surtout les artistes Foley qui amènent leur bagage, comme je dis, leur coffre avec toutes leurs affaires, mais on a aussi nos trucs de base pour faire le Foley. Et là, on a un grand projecteur et vraiment un studio spécialisé pour le Foley. Oui, mais donc peut-être un dernier truc que je peux dire, c'est donc Son House est situé, comme je viens de dire, à Bruxelles comme bureau principal. Mais donc, en fait, on est dans un bâtiment qui s'appelle Edmond. Et je vais vite montrer le site web. Donc, Edmond est un pôle audiovisuel où il y a plusieurs sociétés. Donc, comme tu vois ici. Et donc, j'espère qu'un jour, vous pouvez venir et je peux faire le tour et vous montrer toutes les sociétés qui sont ici à Edmond. Don't be afraid to jump, but yeah, jump like with an idea in mind, what you want to do and what you want to focus on, because otherwise, yeah, you'll be anywhere and nowhere.
You get lost
So,
in the ocean.
yeah, but yeah, definitely follow your heart, and it's not easy to find a job or to start a business, but I'm convinced if you focus and you're following your heart, it's fine, but you don't need to force it. If you want to become a lawyer, become a lawyer. So